Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to Sully's Models. At the time I'm obviously doing this video, we're going through a bit of a rough time with the virus that's going about, the COVID-19. So I hope everyone's doing okay, keeping safe, hopefully enjoying a bit of extra time at home and doing some modelling, hopefully. But no, seriously guys, hope everything's going okay and you are keeping safe. On to this video. So this is the last part. This is obviously looking at the main painting of the aircraft, some details. At the very end of the video I'll be showing you off the finished model. Let's get into it.
Alrighty then, so of course as always start with a bit of a pre-shading and get it looking just like that. I always tend to find the like what I call reverse pre-shading a little bit better in my opinion. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray a bit of silver over the areas that I want scratched, and then put a layer of AK's worn effect over the top. So then we're going to start with a REF grey. As you can see, it's been seen there using AK colours. I'm going to lightly cover it, leaving some of this pre-shading to come through, doing it in light layers to see how it goes, and keep adding it till you get to the level that you want it. And then obviously on top of that, the RFC grey and RF green, I think it was. So then we're going to mark out all the areas that we need masking. The aircraft's got a yellow leading edge, so that takes a little bit of time, but I did find this nifty little way of showing you how to mark it out. I can't remember what I was looking for on the internet, but I've come across it. But I did find marking up against the sort of second to last rivets along the leading edge. So once I've masked it all off, I do a little bit of back masking, obviously to stop the spread of yellow that we don't want across the wing. Now this aircraft, the markings on this has got a couple of white stripes across the nose. So you can see at the bottom there I've already put a masking across the lower panel there, using thin strips because it makes it a lot easier to sort of bend it around the bends on the panels. And again the same on the tailplane as well. It's got two white bands on there as well. So they're just what I also have done is put a layer of AK1 effect on the nose, and then put a light misting of white over the top. It's always good to use lighter layers for if you're using chipping effect or the hairspray. What I actually didn't quite realise, but I should have looked at the markings a bit closer, that white band right on the end of the nose shouldn't have been there. The bands also should have been a little bit thicker as well, but I didn't really want to rework it, so that end white band I managed to take off and then a bit of a repaint and then get it pretty much the way it should have been. It says the band should have been a bit thicker, but it says I'm not going to go through it all over again. So now to use this chipping effect, quite simply a brush and a bit of water. It takes a bit of time for this to work in. You want to take your time with it. You don't want to rub too hard and take too much off. So just sort of give it a light rub, and then it will, quite nicely flakes away, giving that really good, used look. Now normally this bit I would have done actually towards the end because there's a lot of masking involved on this particular one, because all the markings on it are actually painted. I wanted to get all this sealed and locked in before I started any of the masking. So I've moved on to the scratching on the wing. Again, doing this a little bit earlier than what I normally do, but again, because of the masking, I didn't want it to peel away any, you know, of the surface paint. So what I've done afterwards is put a gloss. I actually put a gloss varnish on because at the end of it I'd have to put a gloss varnish on anyway. So, but again, making sure when you're doing this thin layers of paint, I actually put the green on a little bit too thick, so it took quite a lot more extra working out. So I didn't actually mention, but the masking set I'm using is from Montex. I've used these before. They're really good. Admittedly, the adhesive on these isn't overly strong, so it doesn't really risk much of damaging the paintwork. But again, I just want to be you know, sure that it's not going to come off. So all the roundels I based white first. I know the top ones in particular have no white in them anyway, but I like to try and keep all the colours you know, relatively the same, particularly obviously the blue and the red. So when doing the roundels, we need to start with the lightest colour. So obviously white is the first one, moving through to the yellow, the red and the blue. And of course the masking set gives you all the roundel markings or bands, whichever you want to call them. They're all individual, so there's no cutting, it's all pre-cut for you. So once I've done the yellow, the white and the yellow, obviously I've put the right banding on there. And just to doubly make sure, I mean these masks are quite good, but just doubly make sure I actually put a bit of liquid masking over the seams of the roundels, just in case of any bleeds. So I'm sure everybody's favourite bit about masking is the peel at the end, and obviously revealing all your markings. Of course, by this point, it's the only point that you know whether there's any bleeds or not. So particularly with these maskings, put them back on the masking sheet, because they are obviously they're reusable up to a point. But yeah, keep them safe just in case you might need to go over any of the markings again. There was a little bit of overspraying parts, but that was easily fixed later on. And again, one of my favourite parts with the mask in particular is lettering and peeling that off, and you know, revealing hopefully nice crisp lettering. So next I'm trying something a little bit new to myself. I bought this airbrush not too long ago, partly for doing this type of work, and this is actually the first time I've actually used it. What I'm doing here is basically airbrushing a bit of dust and dirt that accumulates into the panels. Now they are a little bit light, but after this next part it tones it down a little bit. What I'm going to do is use a oil wash, basically using oil paints, really thin down, as you can see like there. Once you put it into a panel, it just takes it away and runs along the panel line. So using this is enamel paints, artist type paints, don't have to be expensive ones, and some thinners, white spirits, completely cover the model, and then not completely dry but mostly dry, very lightly with a paper towel, just take off that excess, and then everything in the panel lines and rivet lines should stay in place and give us that nice sort of old and dirty looking airframe. So next, the last bit of weathering I'm going to be doing is the oil stains underneath. I'm using AK's engine oil for this. It's a enamel based paint, so to thin it out or to take any bits away that you don't want, just use some white spirit. But start off with quite thin layers and light layers, just in case, but also to sort of see where you're at. But afterwards I will put a matte varnish down to make it look a lot older, and then if I wanted to go over it at the top again, maybe with a few bits and pieces to give the still, you know, the still oil dripping out of the aircraft. So next, moving on to the exhaust stains. So technically this is actually the last bit of weathering we're going to be doing. I actually start off with a sort of grey blue colour, then working its way up to sort of a dirty brown colour to give sort of the residue from the exhaust stubs.
So there you go, guys. That's the painting and weathering bit done. Nearly there. All I want to say now is, before I show this bit of work off, is thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe to the channel, put bell notifications on so you'll be notified when the next video pops up. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram as well. But finally, stay safe, guys. Take it easy, enjoy a bit of modelling, and enjoy this little slideshow. Take it easy, guys. See you soon.